Kia ora koutou. I'm Matt Stevens, and I'm the program coordinator for the postgraduate programs at Media Design School. And tonight, what I'm going to do is I've got a presentation for you. I'm going to go through an outline of the structure of the program and give you some ideas about what sort of projects the students do, so to give you a feel for what it's like to be a student on this program. And then after that, we'll open it up for Q&A. Okay, so I guess if you have any questions, just maybe hold off until I've finished, and we can answer those then. Okay, so I'll get started. So first of all, the postgraduate design programs at Media Design School consists of 3 programs. There's the postgraduate certificate in design, the postgraduate diploma in design, and the master of design. We also have some micro credentials, which I can talk to you a bit about later on if anyone's interested. Hang on, it's not changing. Okay, this is just a hero image to set the scene. That's actually a photo from our exhibition at the end of last year. So you can get an idea of the sort of things that students do. So just a little bit more detail about each of the programs. So the postgraduate certificate in design is a 15-week program, and that's 60 credits at level 8, and it consists of 2 30-credit level 8 components. The postgraduate diploma in design is 30 weeks. It's twice as long. It's 120 credits, and it consists of 4 30-credit level 8 components. So both those are at level 8. In this country, in New Zealand, postgraduate is level 8 and 9, and 10 if you go on to do a PhD, but our postgraduate programs sit in that space of level 8 and 9. Now, the Master of Design is 30 weeks, that's 120 credits, and that consists of 2 30-credit level 8 components plus 1 larger master's capstone project, which is a sort of a major project. If you do the postgraduate certificate in design, you can cross-credit your components, your credits into the diploma of design, so you only do 2 more, but there isn't any provision at the moment for cross-crediting into the Master of Design. Just a little bit about the entry criteria for each of these. So the postgraduate certificate in design is for anybody with a bachelor's degree, or if they haven't got a bachelor's degree in design or related area, but have got professional work experience, then we can consider you for that as well. The postgraduate diploma in design is also for people with a bachelor's degree in a design related field. The master of design, though, is a little bit different. To get into that, you need to have previous postgraduate experience, either an honors degree or a postgraduate diploma in design. However, we do consider people with substantial professional experience as well. So that's just a really quick overview. I'll move through the presentation. So these are the main themes or kaupapa for all of the programs. It's designed for sustainable futures is really the umbrella theme that sort of runs through all of our components. The methods or design approaches that we focus on are humanity-centered design, design thinking, experience design, agile methods, systems thinking, and futures thinking. It's interdisciplinary and collaborative. We have a lot of students coming from different fields within design and related, and they all work together where everybody learns from everybody and contributes to each other's projects. It is project/problem-based learning, so everybody is working on a design project throughout the components. The master's one is obviously twice as long, but that is the main learning vehicle and also the main assessment. We have flexible teaching and learning. We follow the Māori pedagogical concept of ako, which is reciprocal learning, in which everybody learns from each other. We learn from the students. The students, well, hopefully they learn something from us, and you all learn from each other as well as interacting with your project. And it's also an inclusive and supportive environment. So the aims of all three of them is really for students to be able to build on their existing design and creative technology experience. So you come with your um, a high level of skill and experience in a particular design field already, and then you can build on that. We're different from an undergraduate degree in that we're not focusing on sort of technical aspects of a particular discipline, but we sit on top of all of those. And it's really about giving you the ability for further deepening your understanding of research and giving you the critical and creative thinking capabilities. So yeah, so getting back to this, you it builds on your existing experience and allows you to further develop as design practitioners and design leaders, capable of engaging deeply with the complex emerging challenges we're facing in the 21st century. Now, we encourage students to push beyond the boundaries of their existing design disciplines to develop innovative solutions to design problems across a broad range of technology, social, and environmental contexts. And through this, you expand and deepen your design practice and thinking into new areas. So it sort of, I guess, it raises your horizons and expands what is possible. I think that's all I've got to say about that. I'll just go through the whole thing and then I'll answer questions at the end. Okay, it's not moving. Okay, so this is the teaching team. That's me at the end. Associate Professor Sarah Baker, who does mainly supervisions of the master's projects. Andy Blood, who is also our industry fellow, who has a lot of industry experience in creative industries, including Facebook. And Pratika and Lucy have a background in fine arts and creative technologies. And we also have speakers from a variety of disciplines, from the community, industry, and from academia. Okay, so these are an outline of the components, and I'll go through each one in a little bit more detail in a little while to give you an idea of the sort of projects people might do. So we have 6 level 8 30 credit components. It's design research, which is running right at the moment, actually. Design and economies, creative entrepreneurship, interdisciplinary design theories, interdisciplinary design project, and creative futures. We've been through a bit of a review over the last year, and we are proposing some changes to these, but they won't happen until 2026. And then finally, there's the master's project, which is a level 9 60 credit sort of major project, which is actually divided into 2 separate components, a proposal and the project itself. So those are the components. I'll just go through each of these components, and I've just got some samples of the sort of projects that students do, so you can get a feel for that. So this is design research. The subtitle is Connecting Texts and Deciphering Contexts. The main methods, I guess, or approaches are design thinking and storytelling. And the main brief is about uncovering dominant narratives and exploring ways of communicating alternative stories for a better future. So these are just some samples of some student work. This was around changing the narrative about deforestation in Indonesia from an economic story about how it's great for the economy and creating jobs to to a narrative about how it is destroying the habitat of these endangered species, the orangutans, tigers, and elephants, as well as destroying the climate. And so this particular project was the way the story was told was through a performance protest. And they performed that live. So that was really good. This was another one. This was actually a different format altogether. This was an animated story for children around moving the story from recycling to reusing. Um, yeah, and that was the key takeaway there, was that your choices make a difference, even though you might be one small person in the world. Next is this one. So this was another one in which it was really about changing the narrative around consumption and what it means to live a rich life, from having a lot of things and wealth, shifting from that to living a rich life with friends and community. Okay, next. Okay, so design and economies. This is the next component. The main themes here are transition design and circular economy, and this is exploring alternative, innovative forms of exchange of value to specific communities or groups. And just got some samples here. So, for example, the real cost was actually a concept for an app that you can scan products to find out the hidden cost, which is the cost to the environment and the social cost, rather than just the monetary cost of the item in the shop. The Wahine Health Club was about creating a community or a community club for women, women's health in particular, as a supportive community. Future Self was reframing what it means, well, reframing how we look at old people from a group of people that are separate and to understanding them as our future selves in order to create empathy, greater connection. Growth Chat was a card game that was designed for parents to play with their children to stimulate their imagination. Going here. So creative entrepreneurship, the main themes in this one was human-centered design and lean startup methodology. Students are cast on the role of creative-minded entrepreneurs who use emerging technologies to solve a real-world problem in an innovative way. And so these are some of the concepts for products that they came up with: smart blood pressure monitors and various other types of things. And they utilize emerging technologies. And then at the end of this particular component, they pitch their idea to some mock investors to get feedback. It doesn't have to be a commercial product. It could be an enterprise. It could be a social enterprise or a commercial enterprise. These as I mentioned before, we have a lot of talks. These are some samples of people coming to do talks. This is Dr. Michelle Dickinson, who's a well-known nanoscientist in New Zealand, also known as Nano Girl. She came and gave them a talk about using electrons to see. And the other guy at the bottom he founded the ethical drinks company Karma Cola. And they both had really good stories to tell, very moving. And I'll just keep moving along. Okay, so interdisciplinary design theories. This is solving real world problems. This year last year and this year as well, the main theme was around exploring the relationship between artificial intelligence and the environment through the lens of kaitiakitanga, which translates as guardianship, but it's not just guardianship for the environment, but also guardianship of people and communities. So the main themes were designed for the sustainable futures and designed for planet. This was a concept for an an autonomous AI robotic bird, a heron, which is released into the wild to hunt and kill invasive species that are destroying the environment. So these are all concepts, and this one Simon actually built a model which is actually at Media Design School. If you're ever there, you can go and have a look at it. Yeah. These are some other ones. Concepts for AI, recycle bins, Native Guard, which is looking after an app for sort of identifying and collecting data on native species. The one on the left was a sort of an AI slash VR or AR glasses for observing and collecting data on birds. And some of this bottom one is really about addressing the problem of polluted waterways in this country, especially from farm runoff. So the we did this in association with the AI Forum. They ran a hackathon with the same theme, actually, which fell in the middle of the component. And a lot of the students took their projects to the hackathon and developed them further. So these pictures are just of all of our students in the hackathon. They came from a lot of different programs. So some are from bachelor's programs in AI and design, plus the postgraduate, as well as interns who were former students at Media Design School, all sort of formed teams together. At the bottom here, this guy here is Gary. He's one of our postgraduate students whose team was the runner-up in the hackathon. And this group over here was from our Bachelor of Media Design students who won the People's Choice for their project. So this whole thing is done within a 48-hour period. Okay, moving on. Okay, so interdisciplinary design project, emerging contexts. So this is designed for social innovation. This is a team project that they do in groups. And also it involves co-design. So it's exploring the use of emerging technologies in response to an opportunity or need for a real-world community or group. And some of the projects, so this was the Purutahi Marae project. The Purutahi Marae is on Waiheke Island, which is an island off the coast of Auckland. And they went there, met with the committee, found out what their issues were, their problems, defined a design challenge, and then came up with solutions for them. This was another one looking at connecting, well, I guess it was about family bonding and creating communities of families, and their concept was for a Moments mobile, which travels around the communities, setting up in different locations and providing sort of a focal point and hub of activities for children and their families to mingle and meet. And it also creates community resilience, apparently. In behind the scenes, this is just a little peek under the hood. So these are some of the things that we do at the beginning of our components, which is running our own little design jams or hackathons, where the students are given with over 2 days, are given a design challenge and have to sort of ideate and come up with a prototype for a solution. So you can see that they use Lego, Play-Doh, lots of talking and discussions and whiteboarding and ideation, etc. So contemporary design issue, creative futures. This is about speculative design and futures thinking, exploring possible futures through the design of an exhibition experience that provokes discussion and acts as a catalyst for reimagining reality. So that this is around the future of food. So in this component, it's highly speculative. And so it's not necessarily solving a problem per se that exists at the moment, but projecting themselves forward into possible futures. And so they have to really design that world that these solutions sit in, which we call world building. So this one here, I'm not sure exactly how far in the future it is, but this is an idea for the future of food, where it's just liquids that we probably ingest intravenously, assuming. Okay, this was another one for around the future of food. This was set after World War III, which is a possible scenario, which seems to be surfacing again at the moment. Um, I won't go into the details of it. This is around the future of homes or housing. This is a concept for a space, living in space and space homes. And this was a prototype. This person, the student Jason, is a former product designer at LG. So this was his thing. Then we also have this one, which was Tesseract Homes, which is a concept for homes or living in hidden dimensions. As I said, it's highly speculative. I don't know if that's possible or not, or at least not quite yet, but it may be in the future. Um, Okay, so the master's capstone projects. So this is the big 60 credit one that students do. It's a self-initiated major design research project exploring an existing emerging problem of your choice. So this is where students can follow their own passions and interests, and they don't have to stick to a particular brief because they define the brief themselves. So that this is, we saw this image right at the beginning. So this was echoes of the living, and in this one here, it was really an interactive story that was all the imagery was created using AI and quite advanced AI techniques. But the outline of the story was that this, well, it's about creating digital twins of living humans and then uploading their minds and their consciousness. And so that those people can the people when they die, the people left behind can still interact with them and communicate with them. Uh, and this was a story about this boy here. I think this was his mother or his grandmother, I can't remember, who lives on in the virtual world. This is an emotional first aid kit, sort of inspired by actual first aid kits, but really in response to the problem faced by a lot of international students in particular who are away from home in a foreign country, and how they can be supported in times when at particular points when they need it. This is actually a series of posters which is promoting a website which was an extension of the Wahine Health Club and became the Wahine Health Hub, which was an online resource for women by women in relation to women's health. And this was a concept for street posters. These are we do a lot of presenting. So this is what the students do at the end of every component as they present their work. Um, so the one on the top, Thuhu she did a book, an activities book for connecting children with the outdoors to keep them off their devices. Uncertain Paths was a 40-minute video where was looking at the experience of young people in art galleries. The one on the left at the bottom, that's Ella. So that was the design problem was really around people who lose their memory through Alzheimer's or dementia. And her solution was to create a book so that she interviewed this particular person and his wife and all their friends and family and created a storybook about his life that he could have. Um, and then the other one is really about emoji, communicating with emojis and how often there is a lot of miscommunication through different demographics using emojis in different ways. And even within a demographic, using them in different ways. Um, at the end of the year, we had a exhibition. And this year it was called New Destinies, and they came up with this concept and brand, the tagline, challenging our present and designing the future, which was pretty consistent with our aims and our kaupapa. This one was Maria, and hers was around, well, she created a toolkit for branding using metaphors. There we go. So I won't explain, I won't go through all the details of what these are, but this just gives you an idea. These are other exhibitions that we did. You can sort of see inside the school as well to see what it looks like. These were just sort of student projects on the night. Here are some more, just to get a feel for that. And this is us. This was the group that finished at the end of last year, including a few of the tutors in there. And so this is some feedback from students. And maybe I could just quickly read that. I'll read this one. I truly love the teaching and learning environment here. It feels more like a studio residency than a typical classroom. The relaxed atmosphere combined with lecturers' guidance really fosters my creativity and helps me grow as a designer. And I think for us, it's very rewarding to get these sort of comments because these are actually our aims to start with. So when we get that feedback at the end, it makes us very happy. Yep, so that's some feedback. And then I guess this is really brings me to the end of this presentation. So the intakes for 2025, we've got 3 more this year. So there's one on May 17, one on July 5, and one on August 23. If you're thinking of enrolling, those are the dates. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm just going to open it up for questions. And okay, there we go.
Hello.
Yep. Hi.
Hi, Matthew.
Hello.
Yeah, so just wanted to ask you, how many years of master that we have at media school?
How long's it been going for? You mean you mean how many years have we been running?
Yes. No. What is the duration of the master course?
Ah, yeah. Okay, so the
Yeah.
master course is 30 weeks. So it's less than a year. Yeah. But the thing is that generally in this country, to get a full postgraduate qualification up to master's level, you need a minimum of 180 credits. Now our master's is only
Right.
120 credits because you need to have some postgraduate qualification before you get in, like a certificate or not a certificate, a diploma or a honors year. But we can also do a thing called RPL, which is recognized prior learning, so that if you've had quite a bit of professional experience to a high level, then we can take that into consideration too. Okay, but the
All right.
so if you've just, for example, if you've just finished a bachelor's degree, you really have to start with the diploma. Okay.
Okay, got it.
But
Thank
if
you.
you've had a few years experience, then you can apply for the master's. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
thanks.
Cool. Right. Any other questions?
Hi, Matthew.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I did drop a question in the chat box. I just inquiry about if let's say I'm graduated in diploma already, but already work for probably like 8 to 10 years in the creative industry. Um, am I able to apply for the postgraduate course?
Yeah. So so you've worked for what, 8 years or something, did you say?
Yeah.
Okay. And then what was your previous qualification?
Is graphic design, diploma
Yeah.
in graphic
So
design.
you got a Bachelor of Graphic Design?
I don't have.
Oh, you don't have an official qualification.
Mm,
Okay. I
I'm
think
just gonna add in there,
yes, this
Matt.
is a bit of a gray area.
Hi everyone. I'm Sabrina. Uh, nice to meet you all. Matt, I think Bobby is asking. He's got a diploma in design, and he's got
Okay.
around 8 years of experience in the industry.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, yeah, you can, I think it depends on what you would have to go apply if you want to apply for the masters, it's a matter of supplying all the documents in
Mhm.
terms of your portfolio and your work experience and things like that. And then I can't really say off the top of my head until I see everything, but we then look at all of that and evaluate it, and then we'll make a recommendation, either, yep, you'll be fine to come straight into the masters, or otherwise we might recommend the diploma. But it sounds off the top of my head that you would probably be okay for the masters, but until we get all of your applications through, we can't really tell. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Anyone else got any questions?
So while we're waiting for some questions to come through, I think something came through in the chat there.
Okay, I wasn't checking.
Yeah, I've got a graduate diploma in visual media, and my goal is to become a game developer or artist. Would the master's course be right for me, and what kind of support can you provide in the field?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that depends on how much experience you've had in that area. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, we don't actually provide specific technical and design skills in a particular area. We're sort of sitting on top of all of that. Now, so it really depends on what you want to do. We do have an undergraduate program in gaming, which depends on whether you want to focus on game art or game programming. But we have a what's it called? Graduate Diploma of Creative Technologies, where you can go into the undergraduate program and learn all of those hard technical skills in relation to that particular discipline. I don't know if that makes sense. So it really depends. What we try to do is match what you want, your intent and your goals with our program, so you're getting what you need out of it. But it sounds off the top of my head that may be a graduate diploma of creative technologies situation. What would you say, Sabrina?
Spot on. Yes, I agree with that. Annie, what you can do, if you can reach out to us, my colleague Sophie has put our email address. If you're an international or domestic student, if you can reach out to us, and we'll be in touch with you regarding your interest. But the master's course is focused on mostly design, the design umbrella. But if you want to go into game development or game artist, you may be eligible for recognition of prior learning if you have already got a diploma in visual media, and that's where you want to pathway. So that means instead of doing the full 3-year bachelor's qualification in game development or game art, you can get recognition of prior learning on the components you have already completed. That means it will be a shorter period of time for you to achieve a bachelor's degree in your relevant choice of field. I hope that answers the questions.
But there is also the 1-year graduate diploma.
Yes, of course. The graduate diploma in creative technologies is there if you want to major in game art. We've got one more question here, Matt. We've got Varsha from IDP, one of our agents, is asking, what is the employment opportunity after the master's? Do the student gets to work on live projects?
Yeah, we sort of frame them as real world briefs, and there is a mixture. Some of them will be live briefs. I'm just working with Tataki Unlimited at the moment to do a live brief around their creative hub in Henderson. But I think whether the job opportunities, really, there's a lot of variables. It really depends on what you've done in the background and prior, and yeah, what your experience is, what area that different. I think different areas of design, there are different levels of demand, I think, for jobs. Yeah, so it's hard for me to say. We can't just say, oh yeah, everyone who does a master's will just get a job straight away. It really depends on your background, your portfolio, and yeah, your experience.
Sure. Just to add to that, Matt, I'll also add that after completing the master's program, if a student enrolls in the master's program, after completing the 30 weeks master's program, all international students are eligible for 3 years post-study work visa. And the design animation related programs are listed under the Immigration New Zealand Green List programs under multimedia specialist. That means there is a shortage skill in New Zealand to address the needs. A master's program will be beneficial for a graduate to secure employment. But then again, as Matt has said, it depends on which area they want to focus and what kind of employment they are looking for within the master's.
Yeah, but I guess you've got 3 years to to yeah, find employment. Is that how it works, Brenda? Yeah.
I've got another question here. The postgraduate courses, the classes, it is mainly happening during the weekend, from Bobby.
Yeah. So how should I frame this? So the components, the level 8 30 credit components that I mentioned at the beginning, they run over a period of 7 weeks. And over those 7 weeks, there are 4 intensive weekends where the students, we run sessions for the students on Saturdays and Sundays. So, but that sort of works out so that it's every second weekend. So in addition to that, there are one-on-ones with students, meeting them in between times, and also sometimes we run other group meetups and sessions as well. But the projects that you work on over your component are predominantly self-directed and driven by you. Okay, so it's not, it's different from an undergraduate program where you have sort of set classes where you might be learning something specific. These sessions are much more collaborative and involve a lot of critiquing and discussions and workshops and things like that. But yes, that they run on the weekends, so that it means that you can work during the week, but you can't. It is a full-time course, so there is a sort of limit to realistically how much work you can do and study at the same time. But I think for international students on the visas, you can only work 20 hours a week anyway, so that yeah, so still plenty of time for study. Okay, so any more questions? Maybe I should have a look at the chat.
Matt, would you like to have a quick give us a little bit of information on the class mix, domestic versus international? What is the percentage, and where are the range of students coming from in your master's and postgraduate program in design? I know we've got most of the students at Media Design School are the domestic local students, but we have got a good mix of international. So if you can give us a little bit of idea on where your students are from and the diversity in the class and how it helps in the program.
Yeah, sure. So I think at the moment, well, we haven't really completed this year, but last year I think we ended up at, it was pretty even, I think, but well, it wasn't quite 50-50, but roughly 50-50 with domestic and international students. And the domestic students are mainly from the Auckland area, although sometimes we've had a few from around the country who join online, but not many. The international students, I don't think that there's one dominant place. There's such a wide variety. So we've got students from India, from Sri Lanka, from Pakistan, from the Maldives, and Vietnam, China, Indonesia, Philippines, Korea, Taiwan. If I missed any, I think that's, yeah. So there's a wide variety. Oh, and Russia. Yeah. I think we've had a few other people from European countries as well from time to time. Yeah. So there's a huge variety, and it not only is a variety of where they come from, but there's a variety in the types of background and experience they have. And so these all come together and provide an amazing mix I guess, where everybody can contribute their own skills and experience to the class and to the cohort. And every cohort has a different feel about it and a different vibe because it's got slightly different people who sort of come in and out. We have these rolling intakes, so we also have there's also a mixture of sort of people who are just starting as well as people who are carrying on from previous. And so the people who are just starting are generally sort of welcomed by the people who have been there already, and sort of shown the ropes and guided through the course as well. So it actually works incredibly well. Yeah.
Thank you, Matt. I think we put one more question in the chat. It's from a domestic student, Nikki. Nikki is asking, is it all remote or a mix of live in Auckland? I
Yeah,
think
okay. So that's a good question. So we do have an official category called online. And so you can actually enroll as an online student if you don't live in Auckland. And that's only available for domestic students. International students can't be remote. That's
Okay,
right.
cool. Yeah, I'm in Wellington, that's all.
Ah,
Just-
yeah. We've actually got one student moment in Wellington
Okay.
and another one somewhere else. I'm just trying to think where it is.
I
Ah,
mean,
which is
I'd love to come
right.
to live things, but I
Yeah.
just don't know how
Oh,
realistic
okay.
that is.
Yeah, we've got somebody else from Napier. Now, what some of them have been doing is just coming up every now and again for a weekend.
Yeah.
But rather than not going to all of them. And if what we're trying to do is encourage you to come up for the first weekend of your first component, so you can actually get a feel for the school. Yeah,
I just
and
wondered if it was difficult, if that was disruptive, to the group, or if, sort of dipping in and out and all that. Yeah.
yeah, okay. Well, then there's a lot of conversations about, running hybrid.
Yeah.
But we've been doing it for a while, and I think we've got it down pretty well. We've got
Okay.
yeah. Often the one-on-ones are online anyway.
Okay.
But even in a group situation, we've got like 360-degree cameras, we've got, snowball microphones that pick up the whole room. And so it'll never be the same as actually being there, but you can
Yeah.
actually see the other people. So I think if you meet
Do they
people,
forget about you though? You're just on the camera on the wall.
no.
Yeah.
No. Well, I think, I mean, it is a different experience. It's not the
Yeah.
same,
Yeah.
but it's also not the same as not doing it at all. You're
Yeah.
still
True.
doing it. Yeah. So yeah, I guess the answer is yes, all of this is possible, and we do have an online category. And actually the only people that really should be online are the people that enrolled as online. But because we're set up with these hybrid sessions, if you're sick or there's some other extenuating circumstances where you can't get in, sometimes people also sort of beam in online. So it may not be just you, there could even be local people online from time to time as well.
Okay.
we've got another question, Matt, in the chat. It's from Preeti. Is the Masters of Design program purely focused on design, or does it also include animation courses?
Okay, so we don't run animation courses as part of the postgraduate design. So it depends on what you want to get out of it. If you've got some other design background and you want to upskill in animation, then there are other pathways, for example, like the graduate diploma in creative technology. Or there is also a possibility, if you're enrolled on the postgraduate, to do what we call audit some of the undergraduate courses, but that isn't that can be a little bit problematic because you're doing a full-time course with a master's, and then trying to do another course on top of that can be a bit tricky to juggle. But I guess the shorter answer is we don't teach animation, and we're not teaching any sort of hard skills. What the focus is around critical thinking, creative thinking, and research. So it's adding depth to your and criticality to your practice, if that makes sense. we expect people that are coming into the course to already have a level of design skill and experience in a particular field. Does that answer the question?
Clear to me, Matt. But Preeti, if you have questions regarding this again, or you want to clarify more, please feel free to get in touch with us through the international at mediadesignschool.com inbox or domestic at mediadesignschool.com inbox. Does anybody have any other question regarding the enrollment process, the upcoming intake, or how the admissions work for the postgraduate in design program? No, then I'll just give some free information so that it's beneficial for all, both domestic and international students that are here. The next intake, like Matt has mentioned, is the May intake that we are offering. We are accepting applications for both domestic and international students. Of course, if you're an international student, you need to have visa to study on campus. You also have the option to study online while you're offshore out of New Zealand. Domestic students, if you're applying online, once you apply, the domestic team, we will get in touch with you and request a series of documents that you require to for us to process your application. All the information is there on the website, but just to give you an idea what sort of documents we are looking for, we need a tested or notarized copy of your passport, a letter of intent explaining your interest in the program, why you think it's suitable for you, and why you think you want to enroll in this program, a little bit brief about your background and experience as well. That's what we want to see in the letter of intent. We also want to see portfolio, a professional level portfolio showing around 12 to 24 samples of your design related work. It could be a link to a website, a PDF format, or you can add it to our Dropbox as well. We also would like to see all your qualification certificates, including transcripts as well. If you're an international student, you need to provide English language proficiency test result, IELTS 6.5, no band less than 600, or PTE is also accepted. If you are a domestic student and you're applying for any of the upcoming intake in May, and you need your documents to be notarized and you don't quite know where to get them notarized, that's absolutely fine. You can come to our campus and we can notarize your documents for you if you're here in Auckland. Otherwise, you can go to any of the libraries locally here in Auckland to get your documents notarized, or even out of Auckland. Once we get the documents, we send it to the admissions board, and of course, finally it ends up going to Matt, who finally reviews your application, and he's the one who makes the decision on all postgraduate design program applicants for both postgraduate diploma and Masters of Design. He mainly looks at your qualification, of course, the letter of intent, and your portfolio. And based on his feedback, we advise you on an outcome. Domestic applications is quite faster. We try to get back to you within a week. International, it may take up to 2 weeks from the time you have submitted your application and all the required documents. For an international applicant, if you are pending your English language proficiency test, that could be pending, and we can give you a conditional offer of place based on your other portfolio and other qualification documents that we have received. Like I said, the upcoming intake is open for both domestic and international. Right, so I think that's it for us, Matt. We don't have any more questions at the moment. Right, we can, I think, wrap up if you want to, or if you add some more information.
That's fine with me. I think hopefully you've all been able to get a bit of an impression of what it would be like to be a student on the program through their work that I've showed you before. And if you have any other questions, you can just sort of fire them through. The I guess domestic students can just apply on the website. And I should point out there's a lot of information on the website as well about the intake dates and more information about the components, etc., and how it's all structured. So have a look at that as well. And then we have our domestic sales team as well, who you can talk to if you're a domestic student, because Sabrina, you mainly deal with internationals, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I worked in the domestic team as well, so I can that's what I'm covering for both. But like I said, both domestic and international, you can apply from the website. We don't have any paper-based application form. It comes through the website directly to us. And like I said, as soon as we get our application in, either a domestic or an international, the relevant department will get in touch with you within 24 to 48 hours, requesting all the documents. And as soon as we get your documents, we can start the ball rolling.
Cool.
Great. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us for this Master of Design Postgraduate Design session with Matt Stevens. Feel free to get in touch with us via our website or via our email, and we look forward to welcoming you to our campus soon. Thank you, Matt. Take care.
Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.